When I first started my business, I got the ILM level 7 in executive coaching and mentoring. I was sure once I got that certificate in my hand that I would feel confident and have people lined up at my door for coaching. That didn't happen. So I did what so many coaches do, which is then knuckle down for my ICF ACC accreditation. Maybe once I had that accreditation, I would feel ready to start gaining paying clients in my business, and maybe then the queue would form. I soon learned that the general population really don't care how amazing my coaching is. So I went on a mission to learn everything I could about marketing my business, which led to very uncomfortable times Googling, do I really have to niche? I was sure I would find another way and that I would be the exception. I also did a million different webinars, challenges, free lead magnets, thinking if I could just get all of that information, then that was going to completely turn it around. Soon enough, the reality hit that being qualified doesn't equal being paid. That course that you loved, that changed your life, doesn't directly lead to income. So if you hear any of this, let's move to exactly what changed things. Habit 1 is the time audit. Open your calendar mentally in your mind. Ask yourself if those really important tasks for your business are in your calendar. How many hours have you got in your diary to market your business? What's your output like? How many hours, for example, is it taking you to write a social post or contact that colleague from your previous workplace? Maybe it's your website that is taking up your calendar space, your branding. Is it other certifications and other learning that will help you to be a better coach in case maybe when you have that team qualification or whatever that next thing is for you, everything will open up. Maybe it's coffee mornings and other things like going to the gym that are in your working day. And I'm not saying you can never have fun, but I am saying if your business is a priority, it really does need to feature very heavily in your calendar. Okay, habit 2 is your pipeline date. Set 30 minutes, ideally every day or every working day of yours. No distractions, block off your phone and close all your tabs down on your computer. Review any conversations, literally write their names down. Otherwise, you will forget who they were or your mind will stop you from following up. Send those follow ups, send any other messages that you wanted to send, and decide on your next action. On Friday, I did exactly this and followed up with 2 people who had messaged about my program and then had gone quiet. And I got 2 signups on Friday night. So it was a great reminder for me because I like to think, oh, people will come in their own time. But actually, just like I say to my clients, we do really appreciate a follow up, especially when there is limited places. And when if you don't follow up, that person might not get the opportunity to move forward quickly. Okay, habit 3 is the power of one. One platform, one offer, one action metric. So, for example, maybe you want to fully focus on LinkedIn. Yes, you can schedule to Instagram, Facebook, whatever other platforms you like. But at one point, it really helps to just decide what's your one core platform. And yes, you can repurpose from there, but you aren't a social media agency. So you will not be able to go big on all of them until you maybe have a team to support you. Start with one offer. I find with clients, instead of focusing on selling that one offer, they will create 5 more offers. So they have an offer suite to avoid selling that one offer. Maybe the time will come when people say they don't want your main offer, and then you maybe create a downsell. But do that in the moment, in the conversation. You don't have to have that mapped out beforehand. the best thing about one-on-one coaching is that you can just ad lib it in the moment. You can go, oh, okay, so it sounds like you want to work on this. How does that sound? And one action metric, maybe for you, that is 10 meaningful conversations. Maybe it's posting on social media. Maybe it's blogging and going big on SEO. What is your action metric, your one core thing that you will do every single week to bring in business? You do not have to do everything. In fact, I highly encourage you to not do everything. Simplify your life as much as possible. Okay, habit 4 is automate the boredom. So anything that's draining your time in terms of logistics and admin, maybe that's going back and forth trying to find a date for a coaching session with your clients. Maybe it's onboarding forms or emails that you send the same one of again and again. Maybe it's invoicing for you. So think about ways that you can automate these tasks. You might not be in a position to delegate things yet, but there still could be options of things that routinely happen in your business to grow it without it costing a fortune. I'm really lucky. I have a virtual assistant who just does routine tasks every single week in my business that grows my business, but without it having to cost me a fortune, without us ever speaking, in all honesty. I don't think we've spoken for 12 plus months, but the work gets done. She knows what needs to be done. We've got a great relationship and she just gets it done. So there may be options of people supporting you in some way without it meaning you have to commit to 10 hours a week with a virtual assistant. There might be smaller, easier ways that can free up your mental space, but still get those things done. Okay, habit 5 is the one-day implementation. So learning without action will delay your results. This is why in my program, as much as I teach something in our group call, for example, I'll then say, let's put 8 minutes on the clock, let's go on mute and let's actively do that. And that helps the learning actually get done. And it's the doing that is going to generate the result. So you will gain so much traction if you can just implement something, anything as quickly as possible. There is a thing called the law of diminishing intent. And the more time that passes from you choosing to do something or learning about something or thinking about doing it in some capacity to actively doing it. So in other words, if you do it within 24 hours, great. If it gets to 48 hours, it's less likely to happen. If it goes beyond about 72 hours, you are highly unlikely to ever implement the thing. It's a bit like this week, I was due to be in New York. We found this amazing deal. And instead of booking it, we made the mistake of looking for better flights, looking up the hotel on TripAdvisor. Maybe we should stay in a different place. Maybe we should do this, that, the other. 3 days went by. We hadn't booked anything. And here I am at home and not in New York. So it was a great reminder that actually the speed of implementation can really change your life in terms of having an amazing holiday, but also having an amazing business. Habit 6 is to break the sales taboo. Really convince yourself before anyone else that working with you is an amazing thing to do. I know that this takes time and it does take experience, I suppose, of working with clients to build your confidence, but spend as much time as you can in that space of how can I help clients? Read those testimonials back, really, really let it sink in and know that the more people you are in touch with, the more people will gain that transformation with you. So conversations create opportunities. How can you have more conversations, whatever that might mean for you? Habit 7, the long game reframe. So today's effort rewards you usually in 3 months' time. How can you thank yourself for doing the work today that your future self will be grateful for? So, for example, before sending that DM or sending that message to a colleague or putting that social post out, how about reminding yourself that this action is for my future flexibility? Really connect the difference that that action is going to ultimately make to exactly what you want. And know that the best things are not visible immediately. If you want to have a great marriage, you might have to date for ages or go out with your partner long enough for them to propose. If you want to get fit, you might have to go to the gym multiple times and work really, really hard before you see any results. Keep knowing that the actions and habits you build today will be gratefully received from your future self. Okay, final one, habit 8, the skill rule. So really think about the skills that you are going to need in order to build your business. They will be marketing skills, sales skills, maybe tech skills. Like really think, what skill do I need to improve and how will I learn that? Also ensure that it's really implementation focused and that there are things in place that will help you to implement. I've loved recently working with someone called Tom Cleary, who's going to be on this podcast soon, on my facilitation skills. That was an area I chose to up level because I facilitate groups every single week, large groups, small groups, in-person groups, and I've never actually had official facilitation training. So I didn't feel like I needed a course as such. I wanted someone to work with on specific areas that I wanted to up level. So habit 8 is up leveling your skills. Identify what skills you want to up level and do something really practical to up level them. For example, in my program, it's all about implementation. I don't want somebody to just tick off all of the modules. I want them to watch the offer module and then share their offer. So we can review it. I can give feedback within 24 hours. They can see how that lands, amend it, and then the job is done. And then they can move on to the next module. So it's all about actively implementing, making things better all of the time and making it good enough to move now, but also know that you will want to come back to everything in your business. It's all circular. Even years into business, people join my program years into their business because at some point you'll want to go back and think, what do I want as my niche now? What do I want as my offer? What does my marketing look like? So just know that the more experienced you are, the more that you understand that you're never too experienced. You do not need to be a shiny, overtly confident person to build a successful coaching business. Every single thing about you is perfect just as it is. And it's all about bringing all of that out to the world. So take action before you feel ready. Trust that internal pull to do whatever it is that's pulling you towards. And choose just one tiny habit from today's episode to start this week. If you haven't downloaded the 2026 Coaches Planner yet, then that will be an amazing tool for you throughout the year to map out your business, but also to continuously reflect and check that you're going in the right direction and readjust. You will find the link to the 2026 Coaches Planner in the show notes. You can either have a free online download, or if you prefer a paper copy, you can buy it on Amazon. So search for 2026 Coaches Planner, Joanna Lott, or you'll find the link in the show notes. So I hope this episode helps you to implement some great habits into your life. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.